What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'm going to be talking about all the major NASCAR silly season rumors and updates to give to you guys for today. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Before I talk about the drivers that are not completely confirmed for next year, we need to talk about the drivers that are confirmed for next year and the moves that we do know that are going to be taking place and have happened so far in this silly season. Brad Keselowski has re-signed for a one-year deal with Team Penske. Aric Almirola has signed a one-year contract with SHR with 25 races primary with Smithfield. William Byron has signed a two-year contract extension with Hendrick Motorsports through the 2022 season, and that's really good for him. And I think Christopher Bell will be driving the 20 car next year full-time, which will be 2 more years since it is part of a 3-year deal with Levine. He originally was supposed to be there for 2 years with Levine and then go over to Joe Gibbs. That got swapped and Levine Family Racing shut down. So now, let's go ahead and get into all the drivers that are not confirmed or we don't know what's going on with the drivers. To start off, we're going to talk about Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace announced about a week ago that he would not be returning to Richard Petty Motorsports, mainly because they were not going to be switching over to Toyota because Denny Hamlin and that stuff did not work out with Rich Petty Motorsports. It had been rumored for a while that Denny Hamlin might be taking over, will not be taking over as official owner, but investing into Rich Petty Motorsports to bring it back to a competitive team. That has completely changed. Bubba Wallace is not returning to that team. Now, there have been rumors circulating that Bubba Wallace could end up driving either the 42 car or even the 48 car. Yesterday, Jim Utter brought out a pretty cool report in my opinion. And the report was talking about that he might be being rumored to be headed to Gaunt Brothers Racing, as Daniel Suarez announced yesterday as well that he will not be returning to Gaunt Brothers Racing. When I first heard this report, I was beyond shocked. I was like, why would he go to Gaunt Brothers Racing? But I went and read the article, and it's actually a lot better than I thought. So, with Bubba Wallace going there with all the investors and all the sponsorship, and since he has $15 to $20 million in sponsorship, we found that out the other day with all stuff like DoorDash and Cash App and all the sponsors he has been able to pick up. This would be what happened. They would get enhanced Toyota backing, new investors, like I mentioned, one of those possibly being Denny Hamlin, possibly with the Jordan brand, and new sponsorship as well. And Gaunt Brothers would possibly be upgraded to a Furniture Row racing level. This would be the best equipment that Bubba Wallace would ever have. Now, do I think that Bubba Wallace goes to this organization next year and not go to the 42 or 48? Do I think that Bubba Wallace is going to perform to a championship caliber level? I really don't know, but I think that this will be where Bubba Wallace ends up going to in 2021. A lot of people are saying that this is going to happen. It will be the best move. It also will be the Toyota-backed team. There are rumors circulating that it might have 2 cars next year with another driver like Brandon Jones. Again, that has been rumored, but I don't think that is going to happen. But Bubba Wallace going to be at Toyota where he originally was at. It's crazy to think about this, but Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin kind of had like a feud in 2018 after Daytona 500. I guess they brushed it off because Denny Hamlin understands the business side of NASCAR and he wants to invest in a team. And this is a team that is being rumored as well. Now, there is a possibility Denny Hamlin could take over the Germain Racing team and get 2 teams over at in the Toyota stable. But I think that Denny Hamlin is going to be partnering up with the Gaunt Brothers Racing, and Bubba Wallace will end up driving in the 96 car next year. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about the driver who was at Gaunt Brothers Racing, Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez, like I mentioned, confirmed yesterday that he would not be returning to Gaunt Brothers Racing as he's looking for somewhere else to drive. Now, Daniel Suarez, at the beginning of this year, joined Gaunt Brothers Racing with a startup team as they were becoming a full-time organization for the 2020 season. Now, after kind of not running great, he is looking for more opportunities elsewhere. And a lot of speculation is, where is Daniel Suarez going to go? One speculation is that Daniel Suarez could go back to the Xfinity Series and drive for Joe Gibbs Racing. But in my honest opinion, there is one place that I think that would be pretty good for him currently at the moment. What if I told you that Daniel Suarez could end up swapping with Petty Motorsport, with Rich Petty Motorsports, with Bubba Wallace? That would be basically what would happen, be basically a swap. Now, Andrew Mercedes recently came out and said that they are looking for a driver that brings a lot of funding and sponsorship. And while Daniel Suarez does not bring as much sponsorship and funding as a guy like Bubba Wallace says. He has Eris and Comscope, even though they have dropped a little bit of their funding. They still has a lot of funding for them. And he has Coca-Cola. In my opinion, I think Daniel Suarez is going to end up driving the 43. I know that Erik Jones and Clint Bowyer have been possibly rumored to take over the 43 car in the future, but I think Daniel Suarez will become the next driver to take over that team. I don't think he'll perform like 20th place. I think he'll perform a little bit less than Bubba did. I think Daniel Suarez is a very talented and great driver as well in this sport. I think he kind of got rushed up to the Cup Series when he was in the Xfinity Series when he won the 2016 championship. I think he's kind of had the bad shaft of it, but again, he's had 3 years to kind of prove himself. I think he's getting a second chance, and he'll go over to Richard Petty Motorsports. Up next, we're going to be talking about Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is being rumored currently right now to be taking over the 48 car at Hendrick Motorsports. There's been a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and Rick Hendrick is looking to try to get Kyle Larson 48, trying to get all the guns ablazing and trying to get Kyle Larson into the number 48 car. Now, currently, Kyle Larson has not reapplied for reinstatement. There are some people I've heard that say he has, others saying he has not. Bob Pockers actually confirmed this earlier today, that he has not applied for reinstatement. But if he were to apply for reinstatement, he would basically end up being good to go. Now, in my opinion, Kyle Larson, this would be the most logical spot for him to go to next year. The 48 car, in my opinion, if you put a great driver, Jimmy Johnson's kind of was an older driver, but if you put Kyle Larson in that 48 car, you're going to have a driver who's really going to excel. You look how he did at Chip Ganassi Racing. He got 6 victories. Those cars are not very good. And Matt Kenseth is proving my point that Chip Ganassi Racing is not a very, very top-tier organization, and Kyle Larson was carrying the team. If you put Kyle Larson in this 48 car, which I think is where he's going to end up, you're going to have a driver that is going to help this team elevate itself once again. And you're not just going to have one championship caliber driver, but 2 really awesome drivers, along with William Byron as well. But no discredit to those 2. Those 2 are really good drivers as well. But Kyle Larson, I think, is the perfect choice to go to the 48. I know Erik Jones has been rumored to drive the 40, but we haven't heard anything. This could be the most likely place where Kyle Larson goes. I know people have said that he terminated his contract with Chevy. What I've been hearing is that he wouldn't get any of like the Chevy goods accessories, like the Chevy cars. He would be like left out of that kind of stuff if he was to drive. I think it's very likely that Kyle Larson is going to end up driving the 48 car next year, which we originally thought he was at the beginning of this year before he had his incident on iRacing that I'm not going to bring up here on this episode. Speaking of which, we're now going to get into Erik Jones. Erik Jones earlier this year announced that he would not be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2021 because he did not have enough sponsorship backing him for the season. As Christopher Bell, like I said, will be driving the 20 car next season. He was rumored to be going to the 48 and the 43 car, but those have kind of been dashed recently with Daniel Suarez rumors possibly coming up and with Kyle Larson possibly taking over the 48. Where does Erik Jones go? In my opinion, now 37 right is possible, but in my opinion, I think Erik Jones is going to end up taking over the 42 car for Chip Ganassi Racing. While he wouldn't have as much funding on that team as the 48 car does, with all of Ally taking the whole year basically for that 48 car, the 42 car does have some sponsorship, and he's a driver that is very respectful. I mean, Clover probably would remain, Credit One Bank. There's other sponsors that could go to that 42 organization. I think it's very likely Erik Jones could end up taking over the 42. It will be a little bit of a downgrade from Joe Gibbs Racing, but I think he would bring this car possibly into playoff contention. And he honestly could be the Joey Logano of this generation. I think he is a very talented driver. Joey Logano was kind of similar to what happened to Erik Jones. He only got 2 victories, same as Erik Jones got when he was at Joe Gibbs Racing. He only got 2 victories with the team. Remember, he's a very young driver. But when he went over to Team Penske, he rebranded himself and became a very, very top-level driver and a guy who actually went on to win a championship. I think we're talking about a guy who will pull a Joey Logano similar level. I think Erik Jones is going to end up driving the 42 car next season. Up next, we are going to talk about Clint Bowyer. Now, Clint Bowyer is currently in a contract year with Stewart-Haas Racing. Now, it has been rumored that Clint Bowyer might end up retiring at the end of this year, but Greg Zipadelli has said that he is looking to most likely have the same lineup as the 2020 season. So they're looking like that they're going to keep the same lineup they have for 2020. But in my opinion, I don't know if Clint Bowyer is the best fit for this 14 car. I think a guy below right now, I'm talking about Chase Briscoe, I think he is a better driver than Clint Bowyer right now at the moment. Well, I think Clint Bowyer is a 10th place guy. Let's be honest with ourselves. I don't think Clint Bowyer is a completely top caliber driver. Like, I don't hate Clint. I really love Clint, but and there's a good chance he might end up extending with the team. But in my honest opinion, I think Clint Bowyer, if he does not re-sign with SHR, I think he retires. I don't think any team's really going to want to. Maybe he goes to the 37. I really don't know. But I don't know if any team is really going to want to sign a driver who, yes, he has 10 career. I think he has 10 career victories, which that's pretty good for a driver. That's a lot. That's a pretty good amount of wins. Same amount of wins as Calipari got, if I believe. I don't remember how many wins Calipari got, but Clint Bowyer is a driver that should possibly go up to the booth next year. There is a rumor that is going around right now. I think Clint Bowyer is someone that I think could bring a lot to the booth as well. I think Clint Bowyer will either be in the 14 car next year or he will be up in the booth at Fox and elevate the Fox booth. Up next, we are going to talk about Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon is pretty much going to be a free agent at the end of this year. That's not a rumor now. Geico is leaving Germain Racing, and Germain will be up for sale, as the three people that might be purchasing that charter are Trackhouse, Denny Hamlin, and the Money Team. Now, to continue on that, is with Germain being up for sale, Ty Dillon could have a couple places where he could end up going to. One of those places is Richard Petty Motorsports, since it is affiliated with Richard Childress Racing. But in my honest opinion, I think he's going to end up being part of Richard Childress Racing. I think there's a good chance that they could be one of those people up for grabs to get a charter from like another organization like Rick Red Racing. I think there's a very good possibility that he will be in some sort of capacity at the Richard Childress Racing stable, as Ty Dillon is the grandson of Richard Childress. He is the grandson of Richard Childress. So I think Ty Dillon will end up in some sort of capacity at the Richard Childress Racing stable. Up next, we are going to talk about Corey LaJoie. A couple months ago, last month, it was announced that Corey LaJoie would not be returning to Go Fast Racing. Now, in my opinion, I think Corey LaJoie is going to end up in a better ride. I think he will end up at JTG Doherty Racing, as it looks like Ryan Preece will probably be leaving at the end of this year. JTG Doherty is a big, big upgrade from an organization like, well, not a major upgrade, but it's a pretty solid upgrade from an organization like Go Fast Racing. Yes, it does have SHR alliance with that organization with Go Fast Racing, but Corey LaJoie has definitely gotten the best out of the equipment. I think he deserves better, and I think if he goes to that organization, JT Doherty, he will get that organization to where Chris Buescher performed, because Chris Buescher, when he was part of JT Doherty Racing, he performed a lot better. I think that Corey LaJoie will end up driving for JTG Doherty Racing. And now we got one more driver to discuss in this episode. We are going to talk about Matt DiBenedetto. Matt DiBenedetto is currently in a one-year contract with Wood Brothers, with the possibility of extending for 2021 as well, so possibly up for 2 years. In my honest opinion, I think that Wood Brothers does need to give him another chance, but you have to understand there is another driver that is in the Team Penske stable. Remember, Wood Brothers is partnered up with Team Penske. So there is a possibility Austin Hendrick could take over the 21 car. I think that this is the most likely linear ride right now. I think Matt DiBenedetto will probably, though, end up returning to the number 21 car for the 2021 season. So those are all of the silly season news that I need to catch up on and talk about here in this episode. I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, turn notifications so you be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Link description below for that. And comment your thoughts on today's video. What did you think of all the silly season news that I discussed here today? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you do like and subscribe to this channel, because it will help me get more recommended in the YouTube tabs, and you can see more awesome videos like this here on YouTube. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.